93% of our salt requirements sa bansa are imported from Australia and China. And this is despite the fact that we have 36,000 kilometers of shoreline. And that 36,000 kilometers is the 5th longest shoreline in the world.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pandesal Forum here at 85-year-old Kamuning Bakery Cafe. We have with us 4 interesting and talented speakers to discuss yung importanteng topic ngayon, yung salt industry of the Philippines. Plus, our speakers are willing to answer other questions about the economy, even about politics. I'd like to introduce everyone muna, and then after I introduce everyone, we'd like to invite every one of them to give an opening statement to talk about their advocacy or how they feel about the industry. Let us start muna with the pinakadulo on the side. Hindi to according to age or rank, according to geography. So let's start muna. Mr. Johnny Conghon, nasa extreme right. He is the chairman and president of Salinas Corporation and Salinas Foods Incorporated. Maybe Mr. Conghon would like, you can give us an opening statement. Anything you'd like to say about what's happening with the salt industry, with the newly signed and approved law about salt industry in the Philippines. Welcome.
Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. Lalo sa gwapong-gwapo nating batang-batang congressman na si Congressman Wilbert Lee. At yung kanyang matalik na kaibigan din niya na si Dr. Sergio Ortiz at saka ganoon na rin kay Mr. Wilson Lee. Alam po ninyo ang aking anak. Ako'y nagagalag din na dating kaibigan ko na rin si Wilson. At nung nakita niya ako, sabi niya, napaka-swerte natin ngayong araw dahil nandito po yung salt of the earth. Tayo lahat po ay salt of the earth. At nangangailangan po kami ng tulong ninyo lahat. Dahil ngayon po ay gagawa tayo ng isang asosasyon ng Kamuning Bakery or ipagyayaman po natin itong gawain natin na makakatulong sa ating buong bansa. So, ito pong ginagawa kong ito ay 1993 pa ho. 30 years na po ako. Nandyan sa inyong mga press kit. Tumulong kayo, pagpalaganap ninyo yung balitang ito. At mamaya, meron din kaming offer sa mga matagal na kaibigan na ni Wilson Lee na mga kayo lahat na media na kayo po ay maging magkaroon ng member po kayo ng advocator. Meron po kayong gawain at meron kayong negosyo na ibibigay namin sa inyo. Salamat po.
Thank you very much, Mr. Johnny Conghon. To invite to give an overview of the salt industry. Nagulat ako na he is the only salt engineer in the Philippines out of 110 million people in the country. Mr. Gerard Conghon, President of PhilAsin.
Thank you. Good morning. So my name is Gerard Conghon. So I started going to a salt farm when I was 10 years old. So at that time I enjoyed kasi parang snow, 'di ba, naglalaro. Pero ngayon I have learned a lot about our salt industry, our country. And now I'm happy to contribute and welcome all of you na magtulong-tulong po tayo to revitalize the country's salt industry. We also want to thank lahat po ng mga tumulong sa salt industry, lalo na sina Congressman, sina Mr. Ortiz, para po mag-improve ang ating ekonomiya. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to invite to give an opening statement, the very dynamic and talented Congressman Wilbert Lee of Agri Party List. Welcome, Congressman.
Thank you so much. Pwede kong maging campaign manager to si Wilson. Una sa lahat, good morning to all our media friends here. I'm so happy and honored na maimbitahan po dito. And of course, gusto kong bigyan kayo ng konting context kung bakit po ako napasok dito, no. Actually, I'd like to thank si Press Serge Ortiz Luis, no. It was he who actually first called my attention to this what is happening in the salt industry in the Philippines. And then pinapunta niya sa akin sa office sila Sir Gerard and Sir Johnny. And it was the first time na nalaman ko, no, kung ano yung nangyayari. Very ironic that sabi nga niya kanina, pagpasok ko, we have the longest shoreline in the whole world. We are an archipelago na papaligiran ng dagat, and yet we are importing up to 93% of our salt, no. So ganun po yung sabi niya sa akin. Ako naman, ang lagi kong tinututukan kasi ay yung kung paano po maglikha ng bagong trabaho, no. So yun po yung nakita natin dito, the opportunity na makapaglikha po tayo ng karagdagang trabaho para po sa ating mga kababayan. Dahil alam po natin na pag meron pong trabaho, meron pong kita. Pag may kita, yung pong mga pangamba, yung pagkakaroon ng sapat na pagkain, sapat na kita, yung pong pangamba at takot pag nagkasakit, walang pambayad sa ospital, walang pambili ng gamot, apektado yung kita, ubos yung ipon, baon sa utang, yun po ay mawawala, no? So, yan po yung pinagagalingan natin. Kaya, together with I'd like to also thank ang aming chairman, no, Chairman Mark Inverga, and then si Congressman Ron Salo, kasama po yung iba pa namin kamasamahan. Talagang isinulong po natin itong Philippine Salt Industry Development Act, no? And we are very happy that last March 11, ito po ay napirmahan na ng ating Pangulo. Magandang umaga and maraming salamat po sa inyo.
For helping the country with the salt industry development law. Next, we'd like to invite to give an opening statement Mr. Sergio Ortiz Luis Jr. He is the chairman of the Employers Confederation of the Philippines, ECOP, and also president of the Philippine Exporters Confederation. Welcome, Mr. Ortiz.
Magandang umaga sa inyo at sa ating mga kasama rito sa panel. Ako po, hindi mag-aasin. It came to my mind na merong nagbanggit noong nagbibinti kami sa Export Development Council na bakit ang asin hindi tinitingnan ng Export Development Council. So nagtanong-tanong kami hanggang na lumabas na ini-import pala natin ang 93% of salt. So wala naman akong kamalay-malay na ganon. So inalam ko, dahil ako nasa food din ako, sa food sector, so inalam ko na bakit ganon nangyayari. Wala akong makausap masyado until na trace ko itong sila Mr. Conghun, na sila pala yun talagang, meron silang grupo, yung mga pilasin, inibita namin. At doon namin nalaman na gano'n nga ang problema. So, sabi paano ba natin magagawa ito? So, tinake up namin yan. Pati doon sa Export Development Plan, nasama yan. Sa Export Development Council, dalawa yan, naisama yan, na hindi pinapansin ng araw. Iyaan, tsaka yung bamboo, na hindi masyadong So, tinanong ko sa mga kohon, paano ba gagawin natin? Meron na kang kailangan, merong maipasang bill, may nag-file ng bill yata na unang-una si Congressman Ronzalo, pero sabi ko, alam mo, kailangan dito tulong, hindi basta-basta maipapasayan. So sabi ko, kausapin natin ako si Congressman Wilbert Lee, kasi yan ang nasa agriculture hindi malaman kung saan nando dito kasi nato nung una DNR or whatever. So nagtuturuan kaya kung sino responsable, bakit nagkagano yung industry. Ito kasi si Congressman Wilbert Lee, subok na namin dahil kung hindi nyo nalalaman nung kami may mga problema tungkol sa nagtataas na insurance, dinodoble halos lahat yung insurance. Nag-iiyakan yung mga mga taga-Philippine Chamber of Commerce, yung mga bankero, yung mga users ng insurance, mga car industry, dito kami nagtalong kay naharang niya mag-isa, naharang niya yung pagtataas. That would have been catastrophic kung tinaas yung insurance. So medyo believe kami talaga, kaya sabi, yan ang puntahan natin. So nung pinuntahan namin, may nagkatulong-tulong na, pati rin sa mga hearing o mabot sa Senado, talaga malakas na ang dating nung asin, nung salt. So, ngayon, under the new law, na napirmahan nung Marso lang, Marso lang. Hindi ko alam kung effective na ngayon. March 11. March 11. So anyway, yung IRR wala pa. So dyan tayo magpapatulong kay Congressman. Hindi ko alam kung sino yung mandated na gumawa ng IRR, pero dapat talaga yung mga Congressman mayroong oversight dyan. Dahil kung hindi, magkakaloko-loko na naman yan. Kaya kagaya ng maraming IRR na naalala ko yung IRR ng bank na karta for small and medium, ginawa yung IRR. Napalitan yung buong law. Yung spirit ng law, wala nangyari. So tulong-tulong tayo, pati media, yung awareness, baka naman yung 93, yung lang awareness itself, nabasa ko sa diary noong isang araw, a few weeks ago, na medyo bumaba na yung 93%. Nasa 80-something na lang yata in-import. 84. So, malaking bagay na, just the mere awareness ng medyo, siyempre, sinipag na rin yung ibang magkakasin, tsaka siguro na yung mga nag-i-import na kung ano-ano, medyo nagbawas na rin. So, I think, malaking magagawa natin kung tayo magtutulong-tulong na hindi lang natin mapababa yung importation, baka export tayo na asin.
It's Mr. Sergio Ortiz Luis Jr. Very good overview and hope niya na instead of a big import every year, sana maging export pa ang asin sa Pilipinas. So we have, we are opening the floor for questions. The first question, sige, magbibigay muna ng overview si Mr. Gerard Conghun about the industry. Maraming tanong ng mga tao. Paki-explain ulit ano nangyayari sa 93% imports and the situation.
So here, as you know, we are talking about around 93% is imported. Now, that will actually differ in a example. This is an El Nino year. So, in an El Nino year, we can produce more salt. Mas mainit, no? Init na init tayo kapag tag-init. So, the production is higher, the imported is slightly lower. But in a La Nina year, example, next year will be a La Nina year, you can expect that there's more rainfall and the importation will definitely be higher. So, the bottom line is we still cannot supply our own country salt production, and we have 36,000 kilometers of shoreline. So, in 2021, we undertook the advocacy to support the Philippine salt industry to make the country self-sufficient, and we pushed for the passing of this new law, the Salt Industry Development Act. So, we organized the National Association, the PhilAsin, and then we got the support of this, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce, PhilExport, and the Export Development Council. And they gave us a lot of mentoring, and we proceeded to approach Congress about how a bill can be passed. And then we prepared the first draft. This is the first draft of the Philippine salt industry roadmap. We understand now that the way our country works, our government works, it requires a roadmap. So we drafted, our PhilAsin members drafted the first roadmap and proceeded to present this, which became the basis for the bills. Next slide. So we got the support of the various agencies, including BIFAR, DA, DTI, DNR, DOST, FDA, Department of Finance, DOH, National Nutrition Council, to convene and everybody give their input. So these are the government stakeholders in addition to the salt industry stakeholders. Next slide. So we are, as Congressman Wilbert Lee happily announced, our President signed on March 11 an act for strengthening and revitalizing the salt industry and appropriating funds for that purpose, known as the Philippine Salt Industry Development Act. It is now Republic Act 11985. Okay? Maraming salamat po. Palakpakan po natin yan. Palakpakan po natin. Ano pong nilalaman po nitong batas? Number one, it calls for the creation of the Salt Industry Development Council and a Program Management Office. So meron na pong tututok sa salt industry. Dati po, the salt industry was not represented at all in government, and that's what caused some decline. Okay, there was no attention in governance. So ngayon magkakaroon na po ng attention sa governance. So pangalawa, there's a lot of provisions for the ease of doing business. You can apply for a salt farm and expect to get your application approved within 60 to 90 days. Alright? So mabilis po yan. Before this law, I can tell you, taon po ang binibilang ng mga salt industry. Yung ibang mga kasama namin, 5 years na, pending pa yung application. Yung iba, 10 years na. Yung iba, hindi na-approve, etc. But this one, it mandates the BIFAR na it must be approved within 60-90 days. May mga proseso po yan. Pero because of the innovations in governance about the ease of doing business, all of these were incorporated into our new law. Next slide, please. So, in addition to that, the law talks about a prioritization of these provinces. 13 provinces were identified to be the priority provinces that you can make salt. Bakit itong provinces na to? That question might be asked later, why not the other provinces? Well, first is the province must be coastal so that we can get access to seawater. Okay, you cannot make salt without access to the sea. Secondly, the provinces are better to be in a type 1 climate. Ano po yung type 1 climate? Ito po yung climate map ng Pag-asa. The red regions are where there is a long dry season. So if you can, example, go to the south in Mindanao, there is no long dry season. Mahirapan po tayo gumawa ng asin kasi ulan ng ulan every day. You need solar energy to evaporate the seawater and to crystallize that into salt. So ito na po yung innovation ng law. Magkakaroon po ng priority provinces. Next slide, please. So then, another innovation in the law is that it is classified now as a priority commodity, as an agriculture and aquaculture commodity with appropriate tax exemptions to benefit the industry. So malaki pong bagay yan, malaking tulong to jumpstart and sustain this industry's growth. Next slide. And there will be support for R&D, support for training. The DOST has already given a big amount of support. They declared Pangasinan and the Pangasinan State University as a DOST NICER program. Yung NICER po, the DOST assigns a National Center for Excellence in Research in every province, depending on the commodity. And Pangasinan and the Pangasinan State University is now hosting the country's ASIN Center, a salt research center for the country that will share and research its knowledge for the whole country. So, meron na po yan. Next slide, please. There will be support for associations and cooperatives in the salt farms, and there will be trade and tax incentives, grants and loans, and insurance for salt farmers. Lahat po yan mga design is maraming salamat po sa ating mga congressmen like Congressman Wilbert Lee sa Agri-Party List and Congressman Ron Salo. They have incorporated po yung mga incentives na nasa law. Sabi nila, kailangan po talaga built-in na yung developmental attitude or paradigm para po meron na pong sustaining inputs ang salt industry. Next slide po. So there will be a regulation on imported salt. Before, salt is not regulated sa importation. You can import as much salt as you like. So because of that, dumami po yung import. Right now, the BIFAR will regulate the importation of salt, the BIFAR and the FDA. What will happen is, during years where we have more and more production, makokontrol na po yung importation ng salt, thereby giving the salt industry a chance to survive and to thrive and to grow. So, this is a big tulong po sa salt industry. Next slide, please. And the government shall mandate the use of local salt, including for the Philippine Coconut Authority. The Philippine Coconut Authority is in charge of the salt industry, is in charge of the coconut industry, and they will be using a lot of salt para sa ating mga coconut farmer. So by requiring local salt, it will create demand for our local salt. It's another input. Kaysa bibili pa sila ng imported salt, why not use local salt? So yun po. We are in communication with the PCA and they have committed to use local salt. So then there will be the construction of salt farm roads, warehouses, salt farms and other equipment and supplies which will be provided to small, medium enterprises that want to thrive in this new law environment. So maraming salamat po for this giving us a chance to present this overview. We would like, next slide, to thank very much especially the support of the business sector and the legislative sectors. Previous slide. So, because of their support, naipasa po yung ating Republic Act 11985. Thank you very much.
Very interesting overview. May tanong dito from Manila Bulletin by Mr. Freddy Lazaro. Ano daw ang benefits for the Ilocos region of this new law supporting the development of the Philippine salt industry? Can any one of you mention anything, anong effect of this to the Ilocos region? Mayroon bang salt producing potential growth in that area? Freddy Lazaro of Manila Bulletin.
I may answer that. So, thank you for the question. So, Ilocos region is famous for producing a culturally varied type of salt, yung tinatawag na nilutong asin or cook salt, no? The new law incorporates all kinds of salt made in the Philippines. Solar sea salt, cook salt, artisanal salt. So lahat po yan will be supported. Number one is, there will be support for all kinds of salt production in the Philippines, including the one in Ilocos. Number two, it will be easier to set up new supports, new areas, new salt farms, including in Ilocos. Mas madali na po mag-apply. Thirdly, there will be support including research and development para yung mga processes doon, ma-maintain yung pagka-traditional niya and yet ma-modernize and magiging efficient po yung paggagawa nila ng salt. So they can become more competitive. We expect more salt producers, including Ilocos, to add to our salt production. Thank you very much.
So, ang ibig sabihin niyo, Ilocano provinces in your priority list ng government included. May microphone kayo, Congressman Wilbert Lee. May sinasabi kayo.
Well, actually, Ilocos Sur and Ilocos Norte was identified among the 13 provinces, no, na priority areas where we have mandated DNR, BIFAR and NAMRIA to identify public lands, no, para gawing salt farms ulit, no. So,
galing, good news. Yeah. May follow-up lang si Mr. Freddy Lazaro. Ano yun mga provinces? Baka Congressman, you can mention some of them.
Well, namely, of course, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, La Union, Pangasinan, Zambales, Bataan, Occidental Mindoro, Oriental Mindoro, Palawan, Marinduque, Quezon Province, Misamis Oriental, and Antique. These are the declared priority areas for salt production, right? And at the same time, our BIFAR and DNR, through their attached agency NAMRIA, is mandated to finish identifying all these suitable, no, public lands for salt production within 60 days. Within 60 days.
Thank you, Congressman Wilbert Lee. And Lazaro.
Hello, good morning po. I'm Melanas Moras from BTV4. To save time, iisahin ko na lang po, pag susunod-sunodin ko po yung questions ko, pero ito po ay all about extreme heat lang na nararanasan ngayon. First, for Congressman Wilbert Lee, sa inyo po ba, sa inyong monitoring, ano na ba yung epekto nitong matinding init na nararanasan sa bansa, sa agri-sector, and given sa dami ng nagiging resulta nitong problema, even sa classes, sa mga nagkakasakit, sa tingin niyo po ba nagme-merit na ito ng House inquiry? And kay Sir Sergio Ortiz Luis naman po, kasi yung even yung ibang employees nagrereklamo na sa commute pa lang nila dito nga sa sobrang init. Sa tingin niyo po ba bukod sa mga eskwelahan, kailangan na rin talagang ibalik sana yung sistema ng work from home sa ating mga workplaces, or yung iba meron pang mga nagsasabi ng extreme heat leave? May naku, pwede po ba yung ganun? Kasi di ba yung mga working age yung mga tinatamaan ng heat exhaustion, heat stroke. And kay Sir Gerald lang po, for my third question, nabanggit niyo po kasi kanina na kapag mainit, mas malaki yung production ng salt. So for a change, kung yung ibang mga sektor po ba umaaray sa sobrang init, sa inyo po ba it's a good thing naman? And can you further elaborate? Yun lang po. That's my 3 questions. Thank you po.
Thank you, Sai. Very interesting mga questions.
Well, actually, pag itong nakikita ko na si Mel nagtatanong, kinakabahan na ako eh. Lagi pag ito yung nagtatanong. Well, to answer your question, yung pong El Nino, actually, yung Congress, nagkaroon na po dito ng briefing, no? Nagpa-briefing na po tayo dito kung ano yung ginagawa ng ating mga agencies patungkol po dito sa El Nino, no? Tayo naman, mayroon na rin po tayong mga short-term and long-term solutions na ginagawa dito, no? Yung sabi nyo, yung epekto ng mga to, no? Although si Gerard siguro yung mag-a-answer nito, no? Pero ito para sa salt industry, talagang maganda po itong nangyayari, no? Dahil sabi nga niya kanina, tataas po yung production, no? Itong El Nino na to, of course, apektado po nito yung production, no? Yung production ng pagkain ng ating pong magsasaka, ang production po ng ating pagkain. So pag pinag-usapan po yung apektado yung production, siyempre food security natin po yung apektado rito. And pag sinabi mo rin apektado yung production, yung una pong nangyayari dito, apektado po yung kita rin ng ating pong mga magsasaka, no? So yan po yung natin tinututukan dito, na siguraduhin na ito pong mga ating magsasakas, dahil sila yung ating food security soldier, sila yung pong mag-aasisiguro na may makain tayo kahit anong mangyari. Yung nangyayaring giyera, nakikita natin, yung pong ang daming bansa ayaw magbenta sa atin ng agricultural products. So, sinisiguro po natin ito na sila po ay talaga mapangalagaan, no? Dahil sila nga yung ating food security soldiers, no? So, ito si Gerard naman yung sasagot doon sa isa.
Thank you for your question. I have 2 answers. One is definitely the salt industry is benefiting from an El Nino year. The variance between a La Nina and La Nino year could be as big as 50%. Ganun kalaki. So in an El Nino year like this is a mild El Nino year. It's not an extreme El Nino year, but it's nevertheless an El Nino year. So if you would like to take advantage of the hot weather that's coming, the global warming, I invite you to invest in the salt industry. And pag mainit, you will definitely enjoy the heat because there will be more salt production. Ngayon, to address the heat, I will like to share with you a simple practice that we do in our salt farm and our salt farmers. You can get a face towel or a towel. Basain nyo po ng ordinary water. Tapos, itapat nyo po sa electric fan. Mga 30 seconds, no? That's called evaporative cooling. The water will evaporate, lalamig po yung tuwalya. Tapos yun pong ipahid nyo sa mukha nyo, sa balikat. I tell you, it's very cool. It's very effective. And it's very affordable. It's very cheap. It's free. Diba? You have an electric fan, you have water, you have towel. You cool yourself down. And heat is not a problem in our salt farm. Because we've been doing this business a long time, we know that we need to address that. So one of the easiest way to address is to make a cold towel. Ganun lang po yung gagawin nyo. Basain nyo po, ipahid nyo sa mukha nyo, sa katawan nyo, lalamig na po yung katawan nyo. Libreng aircon. Maraming salamat.
Well, unang-una, pati yung Department of Pareto de Lole, nagbigay sila ng advice na kung pwede, pag-aralan yung kung ano magagawa para sa mga empleyado dahil sa kita. No? Kami naman, nag-issue rin talaga ng directive sa mga miyembro namin na alam mo, ang empleyado natin hindi na kagaya nun dati. We treat them like the best assets that we have in partners. You know? So, sinabi ko nga, meron kasi mga nagpapanukala, pagpapasa ng batas, dahil dito sa heat na to, siguro iwasan na natin yung mga ganong dahil alam mo yung mga kumpanya lalo na yung malalaki mas alam nila kung ano gagawin marami naman sa mga kumpanya dito sa Manila, air condition siguro importante bigyan nila ng sufficienteng tubig ang mga tao nila. Yun ang mga hindi air condition ng like sa manufacturing na hindi air condition, sa construction, dapat yan bigyan ng appropriate instruction how to avoid hindi yung magpapasa na naman tayo ng batas, napakarami ng batas na tinatandaan ng mga employers, pati yung mga investors na di-discourage na pag nagpasa ka ng batas to address itong hit na to, magkaroon ng leakage yan. Ala naman kasing cure all for everybody, Kanya-kanya sitwasyon yan. Iba yung klase ng opisina ko, iba ventilation sa opisina ko, iba yung ginagawa namin. Maraming losses pagka gano'n. So, iwasan na natin yung nagpapasa. Leave it to the intelligence of the business sector. Alam nila ang ginagawa nila. At alam nila ang makabubuti sa empleyado nila at sa kumpanya nila. Pero hindi sabi nang galing yung huwag magsuot ng underwear, Hindi kami nagsabi nung...
Isang kongresista nagsabi nun. Thank you. May tanong tayo dito galing kay Mr. Vic Somintak.
Hello. Yan. Good morning po. Dalawa lang po yung tanong ko. Una, with the enactment of Republic Act 11985, the Philippine Salt Industry Development Act, ang sabi ni Sir Sergio Ortiz Luis kanina, kahit maganda yung batas, kung yung IRR may magiging problema, so ano ang magiging papel ng Kongreso, ng business sector para doon sa pagpalangkas ng IRR? Ikalawang tanong, nag-report ang Philippine Statistics Authority kanina na tumaas o bumilis ang inflation rate natin ng 0.3%. Dahil noong February is 3.4%, this March is 3.7%. Anong magiging epekto nito?
Well, tungkol dito sa IIR, yung BFAR is the one that we have mandated to be the lead agency with regards to this. So, kailangan kasi dito whole of nation approach. Kailangan tulong-tulungan natin ito, bantayan natin. Yung Kongreso, of course, yung ating pong salt industry stakeholders, through sila Phil Asin, sila Gerard, kailangan po natin ito tingnan at bantayan. Gaya ng sabi ni Sir Sergio Ortiz Luis kanina, baka mawala po yung essence of the law pag pinabayaan po natin itong IRR. So ito ay a whole of nation approach. Kailangan pati media po rito, lahat tayo tulong-tulong po natin ito para po ito ay masigurado natin na yung IRR ay yun po talaga yung gusto natin mangyari po dito. Especially po itong kanina nga, meron po si Gerard, yung Philippine Salt Industry Roadmap, na nagawa na niya. So, kailangan po ito po ay magtugma po doon sa IRR. Kasi baka naman doon sa IRR, napakaraming restrictions, wala rin pong mangyayari sa atin dito. Doon sa inflation po, si Sir Serge na po ang sasagot noon.
Ano isa tanong mo?
Nag-report kanina ang PSA, bumilis ang inflation natin from 3.7 noong February. Nung March ay 3.4%. So ano ang nakikita po ninyong magiging epekto nito ngayon sa atin? Mukha po yatang tuloy-tuloy yung pagbilis ng inflation rate natin since January.
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with salt, ano? Maraming issues na lumalabas dyan. Unang-una, medyo among others yung geopolitics natin. Pangalawa, medyo gumagalaw na naman yung price ng fuel at meron na naman mga restrictions na bago. Sana nasosolve na yun. Pati yung mga shipping cost natin, ano, nababago. At nakita naman nyo na pati presyo ng pagkain medyo tumataas na rin, ano? So yun, pareho ng problema natin dati. Kaya nga, ikaw naman yung nagtanong ng isang forum natin, di ba? Tungkol doon sa, kaya kinatatakutan namin dito, hanggang ngayon, itinutulak pa yung wage increase. Nako, para tayo nag-suicide pagka ginawa pa natin ngayon yan. So medyo iwasan natin muna yung mga additional na kung ano-anong laws na pinapasok natin.
Congressman Lee, kasi nabanggit din ni Sir Sergio Ortiz Luis yung geopolitics. Alam mo naman natin na medyo mainit ang issue natin with China regarding West Philippine Sea. So ano ang implikasyon dito?
Well, actually, no, itong nangyayari ito, nakita natin actually, no, lagi nating nakikita, no, yung nangyayari, no. Recently, nakita natin yung pambobomba ng water cannon sa atin, no. So, habang pinapanood ko actually yun, medyo talagang tumitindi yung aking balahibo, no. Nakakalungkot, parang ang feeling ko, sobrang panlalait at pambabastos naman sa atin yun, no. Habang sumisigaw yung ating mga kababayan doon na tama na, no, parang nakakalungkot po ito. Kaya ang sinabi ko kagaya ng kanina, no, na-interview po ako dyan kanina sa radio, siguro panahon na that kailangan natin pong tindigan, no, panindigan ito pong atin po ito, no. Dapat po natin itong ipagtanggol, dapat po natin itong sakupin ngayon pa lang, no. Actually, meron po akong House Bill na final dyan tungkol po sa pagtatayo ng mga tinatawag nating fishing shelters and pantalan dito po sa siyam na isla, no, na sa atin pong nasa atin, no. Ito pong Pag-asa Island, Lacao Island, Likas Island, yung mga siyam po ito lahat, no. Wag na po natin antayin na sakupin po uli ito at kamkamin bago po tayo gumalaw, no. So para sa akin, itong executive order ng ating Pangulo, 57, napaka-timely rin po ito. And dapat po ito tindigan na natin ngayon, no. Atin po ito, no. May mga nagtanong kanina, baka raw lalong magalit po yung China pag ginawa po natin ito at lalo pong ma-aggravate. Huwag po tayong matakot dito. Mas matakot po tayo kung ang ating mga mangingisda, ang atin pong bansa ay wala na pong makain dahil hindi po nakakapangisda doon, no. Food security na naman po ang apektado nito. Ang kita ng ating mga maliliit na mangingisda, yun na naman po ang apektado rito. Kapag ito po yung nangyari, gutom po ang mangyayari sa atin, no. So para sa akin, panahon na po para ito ay ating panindigan, no. Lalo na, ang International Court na mismo ang nagsabi na itong mga ito ay pag-aari po natin, no. At marami po tayong kakamping mga ibang bansa patungkol po dyan.
Sir, one last na lang. The administration is promoting na mag-invite tayo ng mga foreign investors for foreign direct investment. Kaya nga pati economic tchatcha ay sinusulong. Dito sa nangyayari ngayon sa West Philippine Sea, palagay ninyo may mga foreign investors na maingganyo tayo samantalang medyo topsy-turvy ang sitwasyon natin, lalo ng issue sa West Philippine Sea.
Gusto mo talaga akong Vic. Lagay. Ito si Vic lagi ito, no? Kasama si Mel. Pag ito nakikita kong tumataas yung kamay, medyo kinakabahan na ako rito eh. Anyway, palagi na kasi nangyayari ito, no? Paulit-ulit na po ito nangyayari, no? So, papayagan ba natin? Ang tanong is, papayagan ba natin ito, no? So, para sa akin, once and for all, kailangan na po natin talaga itong solusyonan, no? Of course, we will exhaust all means, no, including diplomatic means, no. Pag-usapan po ito, yung pong kung ito ba ay negosyo ang pinag-uusapan, kung ano makukuhang resources dito, kailangan na po ito once and for all pag-usapan po natin ito at upuan, no. So tungkol doon sa foreign investment na sinasabi nyo, sa tingin kasi natin, dalawang bagay rin po ito, no. Sino naman po ang mag-i-invest din kung ang bansa ay ganyan na lang ang nangyayari, no. Yung hindi mo nga kayang panindigan kung ano yung sayo, no. So para sa akin, ito po ay atin, no? Dapat po natin ito ngayon akuin, pagtanggol na po natin at protektahan.
Sir, ako naman ang magtatanong, RG Cruz from ABS-CBN. Congressman Lee, I just want to press the point dun sa inflation. As a lawmaker, sir, Congressman Lee, ano pa po ba ang nakikita niyong pwedeng gawin ng House para ma-mitigate yung inflation? Kasi tumaas nga uli.
Una sa lahat, no, ito pong ating Kongreso actually, no, nagkaroon po tayo, no, through our Committee on Ways and Means, no, marami tayong mga batas na tinitingnan paano kalang fina-file po tungkol po dito, no. Isa na nga po dito yung pong mga tinitingnan natin kung saan po tayo makakatulong sa pamamagitan ng pagbabawas po ng mga buwis po na atin pong pinapataw, no, para mabawasan po itong inflation. At kung ang nakikita po ninyo ngayon, ang isa pong napakalaking contributing factor po ng ating inflation ay yung pagtaas po ng food inflation, no. So ito po ang bilang sa akin ang tinitingnan natin kung paano po natin mapapataas talaga yung produksyon po ng ating pagkain para po alam natin pag tumaas yung ating production, bababa po ang cost po nito. So ito po yung isang talagang tinututukan natin. Marami po tayong panukalang inihain dito, patungkol po dito, yung ating mga magsasaka. Kanina sinabi ko na, kailangan po natin talaga silang tulungan, kailangan natin silang ayudahan, dahil po sila po yung atin nga pong food security soldier. Hindi lang po yan, kung nakikita nyo, gaya ng nabanggit ko, ang napakalaking contributing factor po natin ay ang food inflation, no. Ito po yung pinakamataas. In fact, we registered, no, last March, we registered the highest po pagdating po sa food inflation, no. So yun po yung ating pong mga tinitingnan at ginagawa po natin sa Kongreso.